little bit about yourself.
Hi, how you doing? I'm Benjamin Danieluk. I started working in 1999 at the Old Steakhouse as a chef. I was a kitchen manager, chef for 12 years. After September 11th, stuff started taking a downcline in the hospitality industry, so I went back to school and I became a welder fabricator. For the last 11 years, I've been a welder, fabricator, supervisor, lead hand, and health and safety rep. I don't currently have any political experience. I know that's a big concern to people, but I do have some retired politicians as friends that can help me and guide me along my way.
Awesome. All right, thank you so much. Next up is Aaron Day.
Hi, I'm Aaron Day. I got into politics because the last little while I've seen a lot of attacks on everybody's human rights. I know that.
Thank you.
I know that we have a Charter of Rights that makes us Canadians, and I think we should value that charter because I've had family members that fought in wars, and I have family members that laid their lives down for us to have those rights as Canadians. Right, I've lived across Canada. I lived in Edmonton, Alberta, where I worked at an entertainment complex. So I was responsible from everything. I worked in a lot of departments. So I worked in shipping and receiving. I worked in the labor part of everything, pretty much everywhere. I just believe that in Windsor, I left Windsor about 12 years ago. 12 to 15 years ago, and I come back and I see a lot of issues that are still the same and that concern me. So instead of complaining about it, I figured that I take my time and get involved and try at least voice my opinion about everything. So I love Windsor with all my heart, and I've been across Canada and it never left me. And now that I'm back, I just want to try to help the people of Windsor.
Thank you so much. All right, next up is Matthew John Cola. Welcome.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Matthew Jankola, and my decision to run for mayor is in response to the lack of support by City Council and current candidates for freedom, parental rights, safe communities, resourceful monetary policy, and forward thinking. I have over 18 years of experience in the public, private, and not-for-profit sectors, over a variety of positions that will help me thrive as mayor, including director, manager, and operations supervisor. I'm a family man and have a university education and work experience in social work, politics, and public administration. Above all, I'm a leader with a caring heart. I want Windsor to become a great place to live, to raise a family, to visit, and to invest. I want to bring wealth to Windsor with tourist attractions, a clean and safe city, thriving small businesses, investors, and talent. I have a comprehensive platform outlined on my website at www.matthewformayor.ca, and I encourage all eligible voters to review my platform and give me their vote to help me put it into action.
Thank you so much, Matthew. Up next, Chris Holt.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And I want to thank the CFUW for hosting us here tonight. It's always wonderful to have debates amongst your potential leaders. My name is Chris Holt, and I'm a two-term city councilor for Ward 4. I've also been a tool and die maker at Ford Motor Company for 28 years. I've got a bit of an entrepreneurial blood in me as well, opening two local businesses, which are still thriving today, employing dozens of people. By the end of our debate today, I really hope you understand me a bit better. I set lofty goals for myself and plan my way to achieving them. I've done that in my business life as well as my personal life. I've yet to miss any of my targets, and my current goal is to become Windsor's next mayor. Thank
you. And then last up is Louis Vopovic.
Yeah, I'm Louis Vopovic. I'm a dentist. I've worked in Timmins, Chicago, Detroit, Chatham. I work on the American's perspective a little bit, and I would like to create potentially over 5,000 jobs for this area. I presented my plan to the city of Windsor back in 2005, and they think it's not possible, and I say it's possible, and I say yes, they say no, and they say they don't want to finance it. I say fine, but we should at least discuss it. And the City of Windsor doesn't want to discuss it. And Drew Dilkin's office never even gave me the thank you. But Eddie Francis didn't even respond either. And I was able to meet Ron Barbero once, the CEO of the OLGC. And I met him personally. He gave me advice.
Our first question tonight is regarding long-term care homes. All right, we're going to start with you, Erin, and then we'll go through the group and end with Benjamin. So this is a question that you received before the debates. So will you commit to maintaining our municipal long-term care homes as public homes and oppose any contracting out of operations of municipal LTC homes to for-profit companies?
To that, I would semi-agree, as long as our long-term healthcare gets better support from the staffing aspect of it. I know I have my grandmother in a long-term care facility, and all the times that we were there, it's always the same issues that were going on with the understaffing. So as long as we can bring up our senior care up to like a better standard and provide better care for them, I'm all with that. So.
All right, thank you so much, Erin.
This is the guy that we want to look at because he's the one who thinks he's going to be replacing
First of all,
Dilkins.
I'd like to say to Louis
Chris Holt.
that I would discuss it.
Dilkins with
and
a
I
little
feel
bit of
that
hair.
Every concerned resident needs to have a voice and needs to be heard.
Yes.
That's right. This is who you should be voting for, people. Matt.
Privately, I support public funding. Otherwise, accessibility will be an issue, and healthcare for many will suffer. I want long-term care homes to be of the highest quality and readily available, and I think we have a good mix of both public and private. However, I would like the provincial government to provide better disability funding and support for people with disabilities, people in long-term care homes, and people in need of respite services. This should be adequately available to all people of all ages who need it. This includes children with autism who have had their funding stalled by the provincial government, which has now accumulated over 55,000 children on wait lists that are several years long, and leaving them without adequate support and treatment under the current Ontario Autism Program. Autism rates are 1 in 50, and this is steadily rising every year from 1 in 10,000 back 40, 50 years ago. And the needs of these children are not being met, and the system is failing them. I'm also concerned about medical assistance in death, and I'm concerned that many elderly and disabled people will be persuaded to do this, and that our healthcare providers and government may encourage it. I support suicide prevention and feel that we need to rethink what is healthcare versus health harm. I believe the solution to people suffering is not death, but rather mental health support, effective treatment, and care, genuine care.
Yeah.
Chris, you're next.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, in a nutshell, yes. I don't know if everybody will remember in the first term of council, we had a long debate, a lengthy debate about the outsourcing of the janitorial staff at Huron Lodge. And it was a difficult conversation, and it was a close vote, but I did vote in favor of maintaining our city staff within Huron Lodge. We found out during the pandemic that city-owned long-term care facilities were the best prepared and the best run over private long-term care facilities in the city.
That's a lie.
And it's going to be a long night.
Tell the truth and it won't be.
All right, everyone, please let Chris continue. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. And we need to maintain that control over our long-term care facilities.
All right, thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah.
Okay, up next we have Louis. Louis, it's your turn.
Yeah, if the same standards are applied for public and for-profit long-term nursing homes.
The microphone close to you.
Oh, yeah, if the same standards are applied for public and for-profit long-term homes, the cost should be the same. But I would still prefer to keep it in the municipal level. The other advantage for the municipal level is they integrate with the provincial-wide status. You have a better buying pool to keep costs lower for medicines. That's the biggest, the buying pool. The
Okay.
biggest difference.
Thank you so much, Liz. Okay, Matthew, you're up for our next question. So, Benjamin started it with his intro, and then we're gonna go around. So Benjamin will have his chance to answer his question too. I just wanna make sure everyone has their chance to start with a question. Oh, sorry, Matthew. Oh, sorry, Benjamin. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, sorry about that.
All right, so I don't agree with privatizing any of our government services. Every time we do, it ends up costing the taxpayers more, and we end up getting worse quality services. One of the major problems facing our nursing homes today is, especially this Bill 124, we're seeing the provincial government trying to privatize all of healthcare, and it seems that we are trying to push our public nurses out of service. You know, and in the end, it's the people who end up suffering. We need to better staff all our medical services, and we need to make things better for the people. And by privatizing it, they don't have our interest. They just want to make the money.
Right. All right. Thank you so much, Benjamin. All right. So our next question, and we'll start with Matthew. How do you plan to preserve the uninterrupted integrity of Windsor's waterfront?
So I feel that our waterfront is a beautiful waterfront. It definitely needs to be preserved and in fact be enhanced as well. There's a lot of potential to really make a beautiful waterfront from one end to the other. I want to scrap the $32 million Festival Plaza canopy and the $8 million Legacy Beacon streetcar project. I do not feel that these projects will attract tourists and that the amount of money should be used towards other priorities. Cheaper alternatives can be considered, such as a smaller canopy, less than half the size, for people close to the stages, and a replica streetcar to be displayed on the waterfront. The real streetcar can be put into a proposed new Windsor museum, which will house cars and other historic Windsor treasures in a restored building. I also want better lighting and lanterns across the entire riverfront path, improve visibility and safety. I want to put a Windsor sign like on the riverfront in an optical photo position for people to enjoy, similar to the Amsterdam and Toronto signs. And maybe in the distant future, several years from now, it would be nice to add a seasonal rice ring and at the Festival Plaza and a holiday market filled with holiday lights and festive feelings. There can be a shuttle bus between Jackson Park, Bright Lights Windsor event, and we can just try to encourage people to come downtown to make it a beautiful place. We need to add social services to help reduce the crime and poverty and help with the homeless and employment, and we can really make this city a bright and attractive place for visitors.
Yeah!
And this in turn will also help improve small businesses as well, from increased revenue.
All right, thank you so much, Matthew.
I don't think there's anybody in this room that would dispute the fact that the waterfront is our crown jewel. It's it fought long and hard. Literally, there were fights in council chambers at the old city hall about the maintaining the green belt along the waterfront. So one of the best things we can do to preserve the waterfront is actually work to reduce the barriers to the waterfront, which is Riverside Drive. Riverside Drive is viewed as many as being a barrier from the downtown accessing Riverside Drive. My opponent in the earlier days proposed an underpass underneath Riverside Drive. Thankfully, that was shot down by council. It carried a $15 million price tag, and it was literally just a tunnel under a road. So the best thing we could do is to introduce the Riverside Road Diet, which is lowering the number of travel lanes on Riverside Drive and put pedestrian nodes, just as demonstrated in our Riverside Drive Instant Improvement Plan. That way, we can install wayfinding signage along the waterfront to direct people up to our BIAs that go along almost the 9-kilometer length of Riverside Drive. We have University, we have River West, we have downtown, we have Wyandotte Town Center, we have all these BIAs with local independent businesses that are immediately accessible from the waterfront. So That is something we need to do. That would maintain the strip of beautiful green along our waterfront, as well as benefiting our local independent businesses.
All right, thanks, Fred.
Yeah, in my concept plan, I had designed the gondola, and there would have to be a tower. They make different tower styles, solid posts, and then there's towers that are like sculpture that you can see right through, and you have an unobstructed view. And if worse came to worse, you could always put it on the south side of Riverside Drive, but it just adds a lot to the cost for the project and the maintenance. So the ideal spot would be at the waterfront, but the plan is flexible and you could go either way. And there would be a vertiport component on the south side of Riverside Drive next to the tram, along with a ferry component with an underground walkway to the waterfront. And if you had customs, you'd have to have US and Canadian customs on the Canadian side, and there could only be one spot for each mode of transportation with the customs. So everyone is together at a multimodal port with 24-hour waiting areas.
All right, thank you so much, Liz. Benjamin, you're up next.
Well, we definitely need improved lighting along the riverfront. When it gets dark, there are sections, strips of the waterfront where it's like completely pitch black, and this is not safe for public safety. I would agree with the gondola ideal. I can see the potential in that. It could help to bring tourism across the border. I myself would go hop on a gondola and go across the border. Other than that, as far as our riverfront goes, I feel at least for the next 4 years, we have much bigger problems to deal with, and we need to maintain it. And you know, we got to go with the philosophy: if it's not broke, stop trying to fix it.
Right.
You know, like we have more important problems. We have our roads that are crumbling, and we have an ever-growing homeless problem. And one of the biggest problems in our city is our housing crisis, and this is affecting the most amount of people. And one of our most needed resources we have is labor. We don't have the skilled trades we have 3 massive projects going on between the bridge, the hospital, and then the battery plant. These are going to eat up most of our skilled trades. So, you know, we need to be diverting those towards building as much housing as we can. I mean, I just heard in the news we're going to be building a high-rise of 168 units. Now, I mean, a project like this takes a couple years to build. Now, to get anywhere near of the levels that we've been told that we're going to get, we need to build anywhere from 50 to 100 of these apartment buildings. And how do we plan to get anywhere near that if we're tying up our valuable resources into other projects?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Benjamin.
Good job.
Aaron, you're up next.
Well, I do believe our riverfront is our crown jewel. If we want to use that to bring people downtown, I think we need to clean downtown up and make people want to go downtown. So that would be our first step. And with the canopy and the train car going down there, that's like over $30 million that could be spent in help for these people downtown. There is a problem with the lighting. I agree with that. The geese crap, but you can't do anything about that. That was a trading post for a lot of indigenous people way back when. So I think we should get some more indigenous input for like the art and the design of it all. Things like the salt mine were indigenous healing grounds. That got deadened up, and nobody helped the indigenous people with that money. So I just find that our riverfront's good as it is for right now. I think we should focus on our roads and maybe some inner city healthcare services. I don't know if we need to put new buildings, but everybody doesn't have access to the hospital being built way out where. Right. So if we can find different ways to get people out there, we should focus on saving the people downtown so people will want to go downtown.
All right, thank you so much, Aaron. All right, our next question is going to start with Chris. So, as mayor of Windsor, what is your plan to address homelessness in our community?
Thanks, Eric. So I'm hoping everybody by now saw my press release that I put out today, the press conference I had today, about establishing a municipally funded mental health emergency room in our downtown core. It's been identified by countless organizations as being one of the #1 impediments to actually revitalization and helping our vulnerable populations downtown. In that press announcement as well, I committed and I pledged to work with the Downtown Mission to A, find them a new permanent home, and B, to augment the facilities they have now, their outdoor facilities, that so that the homeless population, the people that are the clients of the mission, have a place to go with dignity and with caring and be there at the mission. So that, coupled with my pledge to build 25,000 homes in the municipality, which go by the market, supply and demand, will tend to decrease the costs of market rate housing. So I've got a lot of stuff in my platform addressing this very thing.
All right, thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah, I live downtown. I deal with homeless situation
Where?
all the time.
What
They're always
place
in
will he
drugs in the
promise to
alley.
build
One person overdosed the other
for
day
the homeless?
on a neighbor's backyard. And I feel that that you need to provide them a place to go, and you need to you can't round them up, but you need to help them want to go, because you can't take someone against their will. Because if you want them to come, they just say no, they won't go, and they swear and yell at the police, and like, even if you have a mental health
I want to
facility,
blame this on nerves, but he doesn't look
powerless
nervous.
to do anything, because they just won't go, and if they don't commit a crime, you just can't get them to go. All you can do is have them escorted off your property. And yeah, that's the gist of it. And then even with mental health facilities, like, you think they're fine, and they say they're fine, but the minute they leave, they have potential to commit suicide or anything. And even the doctors, you really can't control the people, because they can fool you and you just don't know.
All right, thank you so much, Liz. Okay. Next, Benjamin.
Yeah, one of the biggest issues affecting homeless, well, the two biggest issues, of course, are housing crisis, and number 2 is the ODSP level. Now, this is not city controlled, but this is greatly affecting every city across Ontario. Whoever wins this election needs to start getting on the phone with the other mayors, and we need to start calling Mr. Doug Ford, and we need to tell him that this $50 raise is an insult to disabled people. You know, the Ontario government, when COVID hit, decided that $2,000 was the living amount that a person needed. Now, Doug Ford now raised it $50 to $13.50 maximum. You're lucky if that'll pay your rent nowadays. You know, so these people need to have a livable income. We're finding elderly being kicked out of their homes, and other people, even just workers, they get kicked out of their homes because of the market now. Landlords want to raise the rent, so they come up with the first excuse, and people that don't know their rights get an eviction notice and think they automatically have to leave, and so they do. And then we're stuck with people who are, I myself, 2 years ago, I had, our house got sold, and 2 months later they tried evicting us. I would have been stuck, at least putting my stuff in storage and living in my car for at least a few months. I was laid off at the time. I couldn't afford first and last to find a place. And this is becoming a big problem, and people don't understand that. On the first, I camped out at the mission. I started cooking a pig at 3 in the morning for them. And it was a very eye-opening experience. I keep hearing, oh, these are just drug addicts. These are just people that didn't go to school. And no, this is new feeding the pigs. There are a lot of people there that don't do drugs, and it's just we're getting stuck in this situation. Now, of course, we have to address the housing situation. I believe one of the best ways to do that would be modular housing. There's a company, whoever wins the selection, I think should contact Z Modular, see how much we can get them to have a place inside Kitchener right now.
Okay, thank you so much, Benjamin. Unfortunately, we're out of time for this question. All right, Aaron, you're up.
Well, to me, homelessness, it stems from other things. I mean, people can get it in tight spots with employment. I think the increase of rent in these last little while has been hard on everybody. I don't know if we have to regulate how people charge rent for their places. Maybe do it by square footage, so you don't have a 500 square foot place going for double that price at 1,200 square feet. So if you can come up with something along the lines to regulate that, there's a lot of slumlords, right? So and people that are renting illegally. So I think if you crack down on that too, that might free up some housing. Other things. For the homeless, I know everybody's talking about police roundup, but we need other support systems. I don't think the police are the ones that you want to send to people that are dealing with mental issues, because we seen what happened with in downtown core to people like that. And if we can afford tanks, I don't know why we can't afford like a squad that can come and de-escalate situations. We need better tactics to deal with people, because we don't know what's harming people. We don't know what's going on in their lives. And firing people for not giving medical
Could be the vaccine.
for medical shots, that would stop some homelessness, because I've seen a lot of my friends and family get fired for that, and they're come on hard times. So it's got to be a support system that has a lot of things, and it's not just drug abuse. It stems from a lot of other stuff.
Thank you so much, Aaron.
Absolutely.
Okay, Matthew, you're up next.
Okay, so I touched on the importance of disability services in the last question, and I want to just stress that inadequate support for people with disabilities, these people are at higher risk of becoming homeless. And so that includes the children. They could be the future homeless if they are not being adequately met with their disability needs. I'd also like to say that inflation and mortgage rate increases, as my opponent here said, they will put many at risk of losing their current homes, and we need preventative measures such as this better disabled support and better support for the disabled, and better support to prevent inflation, mortgage rates increases, which will harm many families and those living paycheck to paycheck. I also want to say that our government has set up a system where the homeless are neglected, and inmates in prison, on the other hand, receive shelter, food, heating, air conditioning, healthcare, recreational programs, rehabilitation, and education. And so I feel that there's the priorities are not being extended to those struggling with homelessness, and we need to improve that on a widespread governmental level and initiative. I'd also like to mention that more quality social services and safe consumption spread across the city could help improve accessibility and reduce crowding in the downtown core, which would then make downtown a little bit more welcoming for people who may be discouraged from going into those areas. I like to say that rehabilitation programs must be stressed, as well as employment programs and treatment programs for people suffering from cognitive conditions and impairments. With that, I'd also like to add one more point that, contrary to popular belief, those who are struggling with addictions are not exclusively those who are seeking a thrill experience. That is not necessarily always the gateway to addictions. Many victims are in this situation because they have been prescribed opioids and painkillers as their gateway drug, and have been neglected by the healthcare community, which has then led to a life of poverty on the streets.
All right, man.
Here, here.
Good job.
Okay, our next question, we're going to start with Lewis. How will you address diversity, equity, and inclusion in employment and services offered by the
Here's a
city of
loaded
Windsor?
question.
Question. I would say I would say on the screening that you exclude sex, race, age, and years of graduation. So you're just looking at just qualifications. And then when you conduct an interview, maybe you scramble the voices so everyone, you can tell who they are and just rate everyone. And if all the ratings are equal, then you just have a random draw for the luck of the position.
All right, thank you so much, Louis. All right, Benjamin?
Well, I believe that everybody should be treated equal no matter what. It shouldn't matter what sexual preference you have, color of your skin, religion, beliefs, anything. Everybody should all be treated the same, whether you're wealthy or poor, anything. So, I mean, I don't use a lot of the services so I'm not aware of where there are actual issues in them, but, you know, this should all be addressed evenly. I mean, it shouldn't matter, you know. This is not my greatest question to go to, so I'd like to go back to my last one that I ran out of time on. You know, I believe that the quickest way we can help the homeless is to use our abandoned schools. We can use these to shelter people quickly, and on top of that, they have the facilities. You have office space, you have kitchens in them. You can put homeless mental health medical services in there, drug addiction services. You can feed them on site. You can have like your schools as a one-stop shop, and we can set a couple of them around the school, move the homeless out of our downtown core, and like it's been said, this will help bring more people into the downtown core, which will attract more business to come there.
Thank you so much, Benjamin. Aaron?
Well, to bring diversity to City Hall, I would just have to make it in because I have a pretty diverse background myself. I have some native in me, English, Irish, Jamaican, and who else knows what else. You could oversee hiring processes, but I mean, stuff like that, it's up to us all. I drive school bus now, so I have all different types of people on every different religion, and it just comes down to the humanity part and treating other people how you want to be treated. I'm not sure if there's a way to diversify it through like action, but there's a lot of organizations out there right now that have been helping people of different backgrounds, and if we can get behind them and properly financially support those, I think it will all come in full circle, and we would do it like that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Aaron. Great, Matthew?
So, for starters, Windsor's mandatory vaccine policy for city workers, it was an abuse of power and needs to be repealed.
Yes. That little weasel have to look at his eyebrows raised. That little weasel, Chris.
From work, recreational activities, travel, bars, faith groups, and restaurants, COVID-19 continued to spread. Fully vaccinated environments and fully masked environments were not insusceptible to the virus as presumed. It is time to come to terms with this and rehire those fired workers so that quality service that has suffered under their absence can be restored and equality be restored.
Yes. Equal rights.
The lifting of the Arrive Can further supports this initiative. The government spent 2 years dividing and segregating citizens, separating families, preventing travel, unlawfully firing workers, forcing the sick to die alone, postponing crucial medical treatments and surgeries, blocking education, banning peaceful protests, increasing poverty, increasing inflation, and wasting taxpayer dollars.
Absolutely.
And worst of all, the lockdown rules do not apply equally to everyone, including corporations, politicians, and our mayor's dinner party.
That's right. Yeah.
I will be an honest mayor with integrity. Now, our mayor did apologize, but we have yet to receive an apology from our leaders at all government levels for the trauma and suffering, and I repeat, trauma and suffering
Yes.
that the lockdowns caused, nor is there a concrete plan for reconciliation and recovery. Every life matters and we're all essential, and that's where equality needs to begin.
Amen. That's right. That's right. That's right. Chris Holt for segregation.
Thank you. All right, Chris?
The question was about diversity.
The question, yes.
Yeah, okay. I will, yeah. It's, so we need to create pathways. We haven't been doing a very good job at City Hall and City Council.
That's obvious.
We need to create pathways for inclusion. We need to welcome everybody into the halls of power. We need to
Except the unvaccinated.
Everyone, if we weren't interrupting other candidates, let's please not interrupt everyone, all right?
They weren't lying like this guy.
Thank you.
You're frustrated, we're frustrated too. We're frustrated.
Okay, thank you so much, Chris. Okay. Alana, we have a couple questions to the audience.
Okay, first question from the audience. Windsor has one of the highest property tax rates in the province. That's according to a new list from real estate website Zoocasa, which ranked 35 Ontario municipalities. Do you have any plans to make living in Windsor more affordable?
All right, we're going to start with Benjamin.
For everybody.
Well, unfortunately, when it comes to property taxes, I mean, we have a lot of problems across the city that have been pushed down to the point to where now they are no longer ignorable and where they are going to be expensive to fix. These problems should have been addressed a long time ago. Chipping away at things a little bit at a time makes the problem a lot better. You know, like running a city is not that much different than running a machine. You got to keep that machine well oiled, and you got to maintain it. It's to let it go, and then it starts causing problems. I would love to say, hey, let's go lower property taxes, but we need to address the problems first. I'm not saying we definitely should not be raising property taxes, but other than that, the best way to get cost of living down is we got to start plugging away at the housing problem. The numbers that Mr. Holt has mentioned are not feasible with our current situation we're in, but that doesn't mean we give up. We got to just plug away at it and just do the best we can. As well as we should be planting trees on, for the trees we're planting on people's front yards, we should be giving them the option of getting fruit trees. And we should be starting more community vegetable gardens to helping with our food situation. The cost of food is going to keep going up. We need to be promoting yard gardens rather than just grass. We could be growing vegetables. I'm part of a bunch of Facebook groups that have yard gardens that have food share programs. We need to start getting back into this. Urban farming is where we need to go for the future.
Good.
Aaron, you're next.
Well, the question? Okay.
Windsor has one of the highest property tax rates in the province. That's according to a new list from real estate website Zoocasa, which ranked 35 Ontario municipalities. Do you have any plans to make living in Windsor more affordable?
Well, more affordable. Really, I would just second your guys' thing to rehire the people that were fired unlawfully. I think just having support and having a good place to have employment is would help people with the inflation. I know our QP members are asking for more money, and there's and it's, I guess city council is not meeting their demands. So I mean, we need raises. Everything's been up. Everything goes up except our wages. So I just think people need higher wages to make it more affordable. Because as soon as they put minimum wage up, everything goes up. They give us $2,000 for COVID, and then gas is $2. So I mean, we just gotta figure something out. But a good wage for people that don't have to work 2 or 3 jobs.
All right, thank you so much, Aaron. Matthew, you're up next.
Okay, so with regards to affordability, now is not the time to raise taxes. There's a lot of inflation, mortgage rates, unemployment, and families are struggling, especially those living paycheck to paycheck. And unemployment has been very tough over the last 2 years due to the pandemic restrictions. I'd like to also say to help make it more affordable, that is one initiative to help restructure the way we allocate our tax dollars in order to have other priorities and allow for our current tax rates to be sustained. I'd also like to help encourage the development of under the Gordie Howe Bridge. I'd like to have development there to help encourage tourism, as well as encourage the development of the new Ambassador Bridge so that we can have more in and out routes to Windsor, and this can also encourage tourism, and that can raise jobs and raise and lower our unemployment rate. I'd also like to add that to help make it more affordable, an extension to my last response regarding expanding social services, I'd like to have transit opportunities for those seeking services. In my earlier moments of the campaign, I said that I'd like to encourage participation by giving transit to those who are seeking social services for rehabilitation and homelessness and employment. I'd like to expand that to everyone. I feel that transit is essential and people do need it to access essential needs, and therefore transit should be widespread available to all of Windsor residents, because I don't want anybody to be neglected.
Okay, thank you so much.
That's right.
Chris.
Thanks, Sarah. So just to correct the record, so this referenced real estate website. That's not actually correct. Windsor subscribes to a group called the Ontario Municipal Benchmarking Initiative, and our property taxes are actually a little bit below the average. Our commercial taxes are a little bit higher. We're working on that to encourage the expansion and investment into small businesses. But our property taxes are actually a little bit below average. It's taken a lot of work to actually get there.
Yeah.
But that doesn't address the idea of affordability. So when it comes to affordability, we need to invest in services. We need to invest in services that everybody uses. We need to invest in the community centers, the libraries, the public transit, because there's in times of difficulty, when you are having a hard time meeting your bills, when you're tossing up the idea of whether you can afford Netflix, you can go to the library. You're putting aside your membership to the gym, you head to the community centers. These are the best times and actually the most prime times to invest in our services, because the people that are arguing for lower taxes don't need those services. They don't use the community centers, they don't use the libraries, they don't use the public This is the time we need to actually invest in it.
Okay, thank you so much, Chris. Okay. All right, thanks everyone. Okay, Louis, you're up next.
Yeah, Windsor's a border community, and they have a lot of extra expenses because we're next to Detroit, like with policing and guarding the tunnel and all those issues. And, the surrounding cities seem to leech off of Windsor, and they seem to pay lower taxes. So I think they should be chipping in a bit more for the services that the city of Windsor provides. Like, the hospital is in Windsor, and surrounding cities need to chip in more and reduce the burden from all of Windsor.
Okay, thanks so much.
Okay, next question. How do you plan to work with other levels of government on Ojibwe Park, I think it is?
Okay, we're going to start with you, Aaron.
I would work with everybody on Ojibwe. I feel like Ojibwe Park is somewhere as a kid I used to go, and I look at it now and it's very disappointing. Our wildlife is not doing so well, so I see there's a bridge they want to put in. If that's a way that we can help the wildlife, then good. I want to resort back to kind of what Chris said about community centers, because I'm not sure what community centers are left. 80 Knox is in, they're trying to take 80 Knox out. College Avenue Community Center is no more, that's where I went. Glengary's no more. That's gone. The only community center I know of is Student Teen Action Group, and I haven't seen them get much help in the last 10 to 15 years, and those are places that really help with other things. But yeah, Ojibwe Park, I would work frivolously to try to do what we can to save that. It takes everybody.
All right, thanks so much, Aaron. Okay, Matthew, you're next. Thank you.
Okay, so I'd like to work with our current city government, as well as the provincial and federal governments. There's a lot of support for the preservation of Ojibwe Park, and I feel that with the coming of the new Gordie Howe Bridge, that there's an opportunity to help encourage tourism to the park. And if we develop near the bridge, we can help attract those tourists to visit the park, make it exciting, make it clean, make it well preserved in nature, and that can then lead people to be more curious and to sell other attractions and help improve the incoming traffic that will cross that bridge, so that people don't drive by and feel that there's nothing to stop and see in Windsor. I want to encourage all of that opportunity. There's 5 million people, more than 5 million, across that river directly within an hour's drive, and I feel that we can really capitalize on tourism, that tourism is the future, and I feel that Ojibwe Park is a good start.
Thank you so much, Matthew. Okay, Chris.
We're very lucky that we're well on our way to establishing Canada's second national urban park. It's a very exciting time to be on council and to be working on these things. You might recall my former council colleague, Archie's Marchek, who's a current member of Parliament, has been, we have a continuous dialogue on how to move this forward. And it's well on its way. It's exciting to see. I would obviously love to see it expanded. At the last council meeting, we were talking about a wildlife bridge to clear the train tracks and connect the lands. And to see that move forward with federal funding would be fantastic. And luckily, I do have those connections with the federal government, and that network pays dividends locally when it comes to preserving our natural heritage. So I'm very happy and very excited to see it moving forward.
All right, thank you so much, Aaron. Okay, Liz?
Yeah, I think with Point Peely, they have a park pass, so, you know, if Windsor has the national park, then that would apply for a park pass, so that would generate money and be able to long-term finance projects. Improve the park.
All right, thank you so much, Liz. And Benjamin?
I don't really know too much on this topic. I know that we are expanding it. I don't know the exact details of it all, but I am for the expansion of the park. From what I heard Brian Matthews saying, it didn't leave me too happy. He said, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to leave it up to the people to maintain it and take care of it and do whatever it is. So I think the city definitely needs to step forward on this one. And for whatever comes up, I'm open to whatever suggestions are made and doing what we got to do towards that. We definitely need more green areas, and so that's about it on that one.
All right, thank you so much, Benjamin. That was the last question, or we have one more question? Oh, it looks like we're almost out of time.
I have
so let's
questions.
end by hearing one more time from the candidates about the reasons that they would like your votes this coming October 24th, and the advanced polls are open now. So has anyone in here voted yet? Awesome.
Not for Chris.
Got a couple of hands. Okay, well, we're going to wrap up. Everyone again will get those 2 minutes, and we're going to hear from them one more time. So Matthew, why don't we start with you?
Okay, so I'd just like to add some more clarification with regards to my public transit initiative, that this subsidy of free transit will only apply to Windsor residents, and those who are homeless can get confirmation of their participation in social services and a letter of confirmation to gain access to that. Can work very similarly on an annual basis of renewal. I'd also like to add that with regards to the lifting of the mandates, that the Government of Canada has recorded over 50,000 adverse events following COVID-19 vaccination, and the Public Health Agency of Canada now funds the Vaccine Injury Support Program. Therefore, these initiatives were were unreasonable, knowing that it was not able to be applied
That's right.
for everybody, that not everybody was able to, within good health, receive such treatment and preventative measures. I'd also like to remove fluoride from the water supply.
Yes! Get the poison out of the water.
So fluoride does not belong in the digestive system. If it's on our teeth, that's a different story, but not within the body, not within the cooking, not within anything. I do not feel that it is in the best health interest of the people. And with regards to what was mentioned by Chris, that he has connections, I feel that connections will come if elected mayor. I feel that people will be excited to work with the mayor, as me, as mayor. So I'd like to encourage you all to vote for me. I do feel I'm the best man for the job, and I will help turn this city on the right track and lead us to prosperity and better days.
Yeah! Integrity!
Once again, my name is Matthew Jankola, and I have a website at matthewformayor.ca. Please visit and please give me your vote because you won't regret it.
All right, thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Yes.
Okay, Chris. Same question.
Thanks, Sarah. I'm incredibly lucky. What I've learned throughout this campaign, it has inspired me. It's made me drive harder, sleep less, collect more of my friends and supporters, and knock on doors and really work to share the ideas and the vision of about reaching the potential of Windsorites. It's been uplifting. It's been an uplifting experience. I've run twice and won as city councilor, and it's been a little bit different. It's been more focused on issues within the ward, but getting to talk about the big picture, about the goals and objectives, where you want to take the city. It's amazing once you unleash the creativity of creative people in this city
We want
to
details.
move
We
forward.
want
Thank you so
details,
much.
not-
Can I finish? To do that, it's mind-blowing, just the potential that we could actually reach. And we have one of the most creative groups of people that are working constantly. We've knocked on thousands of doors, walked hundreds of kilometers, talking to the people of the city of Windsor, and we have something to share.
Hundreds of kilometers.
We have plans to move
How much
forward.
weight did he
We
lose?
have a vision, and it's something that I really believe that will move this city forward. And I'm very happy to share that time with my amazing team, and just know you guys inspire me. Thank you.
Boo!
Okay. We're not doing anything. Okay. All right, Louis?
Yeah, my plan was to create over 5,200 jobs. And then I want to bring Windsor within one direct flight of the world, because where the gondola or the heliport would be on either side. You have the fast bus, $2, brings you to Dearborn Amtrak Station, Greenfield Village, Metro Airport, and the casino in Windsor. It's like an insurance policy to help keep those casino jobs. And I-375 is being redeveloped, and planning is going into it. So this year, next year, whether the train gets built or not, it at least has to be engineered into it. And the airports would be connected, the rail lines would be connected, and it could potentially integrate with the Detroit development hub. So there's a lot of connections that could be developed. And if you have the vertiport going with the electric aircraft that vertically takes off, they could go from GM or Ford anywhere in Detroit area, stop at the vertiport in Windsor, and then go right to the plant, and that could create potentially lots of jobs to keep the other plants going. Because you'd use the same engineers that could access every area very quick. If there's a problem, they would take care of it as fast as they could. So it keeps everything multifocal and a better arrangement for Windsor to prosper.
All right, thank you so much, Louis.
Keep on doing.
Okay, Benjamin.
Well, as I mentioned, one of our most valuable and most limited resources is our skilled trades. We are limited to what we can build and how fast we can build. So, I mean, moving forward, we need to focus on the real problems. I hear a lot of great ideas, but the problem is we've had too many problems that have been pushed back for so long that we need to focus on the issues and we need to get those taken out first. I mean, we all want the great amenities, you know, nice places to go to, and we most definitely need some, definitely more family-based entertainment for our city. But we need to focus on the problems first. And, yeah, I lost my train of thought on that one, but, yeah, we just need to keep plugging away and do everything we can. And, you know, rather than building new, we need to reuse what we can. You know, we have abandoned churches, we should be using these for mental health facilities and such like that. You know, we need more community centers, but again, we're limited on our trades to build them. So we should use what we have instead of tearing stuff down.
Yeah.
And one of the things we definitely need to do is we need to find out what's going on with this second Ambassador Bridge. Are they building it or not? It's time to basically use it or get off the pot. Because there's a lot of land out there that's sitting there with abandoned housing. I'm sure by now a lot of that housing isn't usable, but the foundations are still good, or even the framing. We need to utilize everything we can, and we need to start the process to retake that land back if they're not going to use it.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be nice to promise you all the solutions 5 to 10 years from now, and just keep doing that forever. But I believe you just gotta listen to the people. I know we all know where the problems are. If you listen to the people and you talk to the people and get input from the people, that's where you're gonna find the solutions. There's homes in the West End that are just sitting there. They've been sitting there for 8 to 10 years. We need to get all the support systems that we can together. I believe we need to scrap all the COVID measures.
Good point.
Homes, and I'm sure they're all up to date, but that's where we continue to have outbreaks. So I think we need to scrap that. And then as far as our skilled trades, if we don't have people to build the stuff now, I think we need to educate our children and bring skills trades to schools earlier. We need to take out sexual education and just
Yes. Remove the toxic education.
Putting everybody together and just putting our heads together and coming up with the best ideas for our city is going to help us the most.
All right. Another thing, municipal government.
Last thing,
Yeah.
and we need to defend, honor, and cherish the Charter of Rights.
He means Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights, people. The
And
Bill of
the
Rights.
municipal elections and municipal government is one of the most important ones because it really does touch everything we do day to day. You know, it's the roads we drive on, it's our sewers, it's our homes. And what we saw tonight was so much passion from these people and from these wonderful candidates. So if we can all give everyone a round of applause.
Except for Chris Holt.
It's a lot of work and it's a lot
Red
of
as
courage
faces.
to put yourself out there to be a candidate. And I want to thank all of you
Good
tonight
candidate.
for joining us, for putting yourselves out there, and for hearing from all of you. And thank you all for joining us this evening. A big thank you to CFUW for hosting this evening. It's been a wonderful night. Wonderful organization.
It's free.
And, hey, it's free. So thank you all so much for joining us on a weekday, on a school night, and for participating like this. It's really wonderful to see all of your enthusiasm. And be sure to vote this election. Advance polls are open now, and you can vote on October 24th. Thank you all so much.
Yes. Vote Matt. Well, you have it there, kids. That's the city council debate, and the mayor who's running is not here. He figures he doesn't need to debate. Well, he doesn't get to see how people feel about him. That's right. That's right. So, that was our debate. Hopefully it gives you guys some insight on who you want to vote for or not vote for. Take care.